Hey you guys, Byron here. I wanted to do a quick follow-up video on my previous one on timelines, which everyone seemed pretty keen on, and it got lots of discussion going, which was fantastic. And one of those questions that came out of that discussion was from someone who was a twin flame and wanted to know a little bit more about timelines in relation to twins. Obviously, if you know anything about twins, they have a pretty different operating format to other partnerships and other divine unions. So there is certainly, it's certainly a valid question to want to know a bit more about that from that point of view. But to make this a little more applicable to everyone else as well, I'm titling this video Timelines in Divine Unions, which is not only to do with twins but will be inclusive of any type of divine union, which will largely be a soulmate type relationship. Of course there are others, but for the sake of this video we're just going to keep it focused on twins specifically and soul partnerships or soulmate type relationships, of which most others fall in that category. So before we get into the timeline stuff, let's just do a real quick reflection on what do we mean by twins and what do we mean by soulmates and so forth. Well, that's a video in itself. But for the purpose of this one, we're just going to do a quick overview for a basic understanding. And the quickest, easiest way I can explain it to you is like this. A twin flame is two sides of the same coin. Soulmates are two separate coins. They are their own coins. Thinking that twin flames, being the same coin, then share the same operating base. And we call that a template. Twins share same template, which means what one does affects the other and vice versa. But keep in mind that if your awareness, your point of consciousness is on one side of the coin only and your twin, your counterpart, is on the other side of the coin, yes, you are the same coin, but forever and a day until you truly get with that program, you will be quite literally chasing your tail and chasing the other side of that coin, looking for the other. You're looking for your partner, so to speak. And yes, they're a partner, but no, they're not. Because if you are one side of a coin looking to the other side, yes, there are two of you, that's fine. But the truth is, you are the one coin. You are not just two sides of the same coin. Yes, you are allowed to see it that way. That's the beauty of looking at things in linear time, in 3D space, and through the lens of duality. But if that is not your ultimate truth and your ultimate reality, then using that 3D pair of glasses is really only going to get you so far in trying to understand the core nature of how you roll as a divine partnership. And this is where the vast majority of twins come unstuck, because from the day we're born, I am me and you are you, and we are a we and we are in a partnership. We are two people, that's how we roll, blah, 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 blah. And the fact is, twins don't work like that. To the outside perspective, that's totally what they look like. They're two physical beings, two individual units of consciousness. But in terms of operational capacity, from a soul base, from a mission base, from a self-expression base, they will be constantly influenced by other forces, including that other side of their coin, of which they just don't understand and will always see as an external thing. Until they realise that it is not an external thing. That's probably just made you more confused and opened up even more questions. And maybe we'll do a video specifically just on divine unions and this stuff later, but I hope that's given you a sort of an understanding, at least in terms of how twins operate. A soulmate relationship is completely different. Soulmates are two separate coins. They are their own coins, and therefore we'll see another coin. And the nature of that partnership, the nature of that relationship, is one of agreement or contract based. Twins are template based. Soulmates are contract based. And the way that that works is completely different. And obviously around agreements, yes, twins can make agreements, have understandings, all of those sorts of things, but the deeper core template will always override and overrule and will be the primary way they move. Soulmates have a lot more room to move around their fundamental contract and agreement. So let's just say from a soulmate perspective that two units of consciousness before incarnating get together and go, hey, do you want to do this dance together? The purpose of the dance is always one of two things, if not both things. It is for the function of growth and of mutual growth usually. So two individual points of consciousness will highlight their areas of growth and develop a unique, hilarious scenario to play out via an incarnation to support each other and create circumstances, situations and relationships that will be a catalyst for those specific areas of growth for each other. That could mean they're your best friend. That could mean they are a fleeting stranger just as a one-off. It could mean that they're your life partner. It could mean that they are your lifelong enemy and arch enemy. Whatever the other person needs to do to set up the scenario for you to gain what it is that you have identified as your core area of growth from your highest point of view. So you both come in here, you set up the scene, you play it out, you draw from it as much as you can, you both pop off, you have a quick review after your incarnation, you have a laugh, and then you might just keep dancing together if you like dancing together. You might go and pick someone else and go, hey, all right, it's time to grow with someone different now. Who knows? It's not really relevant right now. But as you can understand, there is a definite sense of unity with twins, a sense of oneness, versus soulmates, of which there is distinct duality. There is a me and a you. Hope that makes some sense so far. Okay, so if we're talking timelines, then I guess, and the ability to affect a timeline, affect yours, or interestingly, to affect your partners or even your twins, then we need to look at how or if they can be affected, and if you can affect your own versus your partners. So let's look at twins, for example. And I guess the whole point is, if you can affect a timeline within this space now, if you can affect it, if you can stop it, rewrite it, or implement any sort of a change, then we are talking about the ability for free will to come into play to affect that timeline. And is there capacity for free will? Within twins, my suggestion is that there is less capacity to affect timelines, either for yourself or for another. Less capacity. I would not say no capacity. I don't believe in absolutely predestined in that sort of a sense. But understand that twins come into this space together, yes, with understandings and agreements for growth and blah, 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 blah. But the key thing to remember is that twins don't come here for each other. They come here to work together for a wider mission. Therefore, there is a lot less ability to work on and with each other, or even mess with each other in that way, because twins are graduate souls. Twins have moved past this stuff and have come back quite consciously and intentionally to work in and on this space and to work with this space for its own growth and clearing and so forth. So twins come back in a very different kind of parameter and with a different capacity and at a different level of authority, and therefore aren't really interested in doing that work with and on each other, because that's not what they're here to do. They are here to work together on something else. Soulmates are a different story. Soulmates can absolutely have co-mission and can be doing all sorts of grooving work in this space. Some of that can be asserted via free will. It was in no way predestined. Two soulmates rock up with some predestined stuff, realise some compatibility, and within the scope of free will go, hey, let's play together on this thing, and there should be some wider benefit for that. Both soulmates go, yep, cool beans, and they do that and whatever. But it's not necessarily predestined. It may be predestined, but again, the point is it is not to achieve a goal in a wider sense. The larger goal, anything done on the outside together by soulmates, again comes back to their own personal agenda. And the soulmate's agenda is one of two things: growth and clearing, growth or karma. So they are entirely focused on moving themselves forward, growing, getting better, whatever else, but also for energetic clearing, for karmic clearing over the course of your own personal lineage, multiple lifetimes, multiple dimensional realities, also your bloodlines and family lines, clearing all of that sort of stuff as well. So, and of course twins do that too, but they're not here to do that, okay? They do that stuff to get it out of the way to be able to get to mission, which is the third element of the twin relationship, the thing that they are here to focus on together. That's a bit inconsequential, if you like, for soulmates. So they are here for each other's growth, of which mission may just be a catalyst for that, but the goal is self-growth. And karmic clearing, energetic clearing for the capacity of more growth. So soulmates have in my opinion, a considerably higher capacity to influence change around timelines for each other. And in the last video we talked about time obviously being a construct and space obviously being a construct, just like a lens or a pair of glasses, that when we look through that lens, that is absolutely the reality. That is how we see it. But the point is, the lens is a lens and we can choose to remove it. So the core truth is different to our perception or the way we're choosing to see it. Hope that makes some sense. So soulmates have a much greater capacity to be able to work with their own and their partner's timelines, I guess within the scope of what their contractual arrangement is between them. Some things, some elements will be relatively fixed or seem relatively fixed. Other things will have more room to move than they know what to do with. So for soulmates, for example, that may have danced together previously in alternate or other incarnations that come into this space, there will be some sort of karmic residue, obviously previous balance or imbalance energetic residue that will play out, and that will be part of their agenda to play some of that out and also to assist each other in their areas of growth. So a lot of those things from the past, if they are influencing this time now, will be here to be played out, and I guess are specifically here to then be reworked. So in a timeline sense with soulmates, it is not only within capacity but probably likely that soulmates will go back to previous incarnations or alternate incarnations as well together, in terms of their timeline rewriting, not just rewriting within this incarnation. And we are talking about what they do in this space, but also the nature of their relationship. Some things will be alterable and some things will not be. A soulmate might want to effectively remove the presence of another soul point of consciousness entirely from their being, entirely from their awareness. And they may or may not be able to do that. It depends on what that contract is about. If there's plenty of karmic bullshit and build-up going on in the background, then that might be part of what they use their timeline work for, to intentionally release karma or intentionally release balance via going back in time and via using the timeline and linear time process to release, let go of, or extinguish that karma. But that's not to say that that will necessarily work. Not all karma can be worked out like that. Some karma must be expressed and moved forward to clear. It cannot always be used in a timeline sense of going backwards to clear it back at its source. That would specifically come to play also for twins. But again, as I said before, twins aren't really here to worry about that stuff. They only really deal with that to be able to get to the third element, which is the mission, which is the one thing that they are here in common. And twins won't ever get to mission until they have well and truly realised, understood and grounded their orientation in the container of the yin-yang and not the two halves. As twins are still in the two-half mode, mission will barely be made available and will barely be made visible to them. And that's the point of twins, is that unless they get to a certain point of template consciousness, mission will not come through for them. It will not unfold for them, because mission is embedded in the unified template consciousness. So until a twin gets to that space, mission will not necessarily be uncovered and will effectively lay dormant within a layer of that template until they uncover it. So the work must be done, but the work is not the end goal. The personal development, the searching, the self-awareness, all of that is a means to an end, which is to get on with what they're here to do. Twins will not be clearing karma from past lives, or even necessarily from this life. And when they do, the cataclysmic results of those twins coming together will rapidly clear a huge amount of stuff in a very short period of time, or at least bring all of that stuff up for that to happen. And of course, that's why most twins fall over, because they are so stuck in a 3D paradigm that they are attempting to work on what you might call a 5D operating platform using 3D glasses. And you can't. You just can't. Any true twin will tell you that you can't. So in terms of rewriting a timeline for twins, that's probably a bit of a trickier deal. But there will be room to move as well. And the key for twins, like the key for twins with everything, is to remember that it is not a me and a you. Everything is done together. Everything must be done in awareness of the one. Any decisions about energetic moving, clearing, karma clearing, timeline rewriting, it really doesn't matter. Whatever a twin's planning to do in that space needs to be done either consciously with or in consideration of the other, because it's not just one person. That's the 3D way of looking at stuff, and there will always be factors that come in that individual won't understand why they are not affecting the change that they want, because there's more to it than that. Twins who have awakened to a unified template and a singular template will not even try and work outside of their twin. It will be done in conscious awareness of that other individual as well. Hoping that's opened up a little bit more for discussion. Hoping we've given you some more stuff to maybe think about for questions. I believe a video on divine unions full stop is probably a good idea and is in order at some point. But around timelines, please just have a think about this stuff in terms of partnership, understanding the nature of twins versus soulmate, that twins are template based, soulmates are contract based. If you really get that, then reapplying your understanding of timelines might give you some framework for answering some of your own questions, or maybe even helping you raise some more questions. Throw them my way and we will keep this discussion going, and maybe we'll throw another video or 10 out there and see how we go. Good on you guys. Hope that that's kept you rolling for a while, and we will talk again soon. Cheers. Bye.